Okay, so I'm launching here this MySQL. Come on, I'm in this one. The client I need to launch first of all. It is MySQL Workbench. So this is 8.0 Community Edition. I'm opening it. So either you can use the command line clients or you can use MySQL Workbench. But working with MySQL Workbench can be little more comfort because this is GUI. We need to enter the password, whatever password you entered for the root user. So when we enter this one, it is going to be logging in. Okay, it is going to be logging in. We have in this case two different tables we have created. One is the category table. Second thing is product table. There are two tables available in this case. Okay, so these two tables are linked. On what basis? Based on the category ID, they are linked. Similarly, TDL category is also linked with itself. Supercat ID, we are mapping with the cat ID. But in the case of TDL in the product table also, we have a category ID that we are linking with the TDL category. So like this, you have a relationship between the two tables. One is what? Self-linking. I mean, within the TDL category is getting linked with itself. Second thing is what? The product table is getting linked with the TDL category. So that is called as basically relationships. We are relating both the tables. Okay, with this what you do, first of all, you maintain the integrity of the data. Second thing is you avoid the redundancy of the data. Otherwise, same data you need to save in multiple tables. So maintaining such data can become very, very difficult. As the data size grows, maintaining in multiple places data can be too difficult. Sometimes it even becomes impossible, and that can go wayward sometimes. In one table you find one type of data, in the other table you find other type of data. That's going to be quite confusing. So to avoid such things, what we do, we go with the relationships. You split data among number of tables. So this is basically called as avoiding the redundancy. Same data you put into multiple tables. In fact, there is a concept called normal forms. So with the theory, we have a concept called normal forms. We develop database up to some 3 normal forms. It's called as 3NF. 1NF, 2NF, as well as 3NF. There are going to be 3 normal forms you have. So when you have time, what you do, just try to find out what is first normal form, what is second normal form, what is third normal form with the databases. Okay, there is the concepts are first normal form, second normal form, third normal form. That is a theory. You study with the DBMS. Normally, when you study masters or when you study engineering, if you take computer science as your optional branch, in such case, you have a subject called DBMS, Database Management System. It's only theory. They don't teach you any particular, commercial database. Neither MySQL, nor Oracle, nor SQL Server. They particularly don't say anything about any particular commercial RDBMS. Okay, what they say, just how the RDBMS should be. In that, you understand actually what is basically the first normal form, what is second normal form, what is third normal form, because in the interviews, they ask these questions. Sometimes, do you know what is normal form, they ask. So that's why note down these points, first normal form, second normal form, and third normal form, then try to Google it, try to search in the Google, then try to understand it. Okay, in the interviews, this question is going to be very, very useful. So what normal forms, what are basically normal forms? What is first normal form? What you do with the first normal form? What is second normal form? What do we do with that? What is third normal form? Why that is required? They may ask you a question. So when you link tables like this, here in this case, the database is going to be in the third normal form now. Okay, we have normalized it to 3NF. That's fine here. Now, you have created tables. One table will link with another table. But if you have to see this like a diagram, how to see? So for that purpose, we go to the database here. We are going to create here a diagram. It is called as entity relationship diagram. Okay, entity relationship diagram. That is called as entity relationship diagram. Entity is what basically category is an entity. One more entity is what product. Okay, how they are linked, you can see diagrammatically using the entity relationship diagrams. Now we need to generate entity relationship diagram. For that purpose, here click on the database. So when you go with the database, here you have a menu called reverse engineer. You have here something like reverse engineer. When you click on this, it is going to ask you. Okay, connection options is what here. You are using local instance MySQL 80. Okay, it's the standard TCP IP. Okay, then localhost port number 3306. Username is root. Then from here, I need to go to further next step. So it will be asking the password in that case. Whatever password you entered, you need to give there. I have some password that I am entering here. Okay, so after giving password, I go into next step. What it says, connect to DBMS, retrieve schema list from database, check common server configuration issues, it says. So go with the next in this case. So now here, I want to choose the database. What is our database name? It is FullStack. I think we created FullStack or some other database. So we created some other database, I think. What was that? Related to, it is StoresDB. We created yesterday StoresDB that we need to select. Now click on the next here. Okay, click on the next in this case. Further, it is having two total objects, two selected, it says. Now say here, execute. Okay, now click on the next, then finish. You can see here, entity relationship diagram. You can see here, one entity is connected with the another entity in this case. So there is a link between the DDL category and DDL product. There is a relationship here. This is called as one-to-many relationships. Ultimately, these are all going to be mathematics related only. Okay, in the mathematics, you have relationships, one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many relations you have. So in this case, what here, one-to-many relationship in this. What exactly that means here? Under one particular category, you can have here in this case, many products. What is the relationship between category and product in this case? A single category can have multiple products. Under one particular category, there can be multiple products. Like this is saying here. Okay, this is called as here one-to-many. Similarly, under one super category, there can be multiple subcategories. So if you see here, the category is getting linked with itself. With this arrow keys, you can see on the top. And in this case, this is what here, one-to-many this is. Under one category, you can have multiple products. This is called as here entity relationship diagram. TBL category is entity and TBL product is going to be another entity. So we are drawing like this here, entity relationship diagram in this case. So using in the database, you have reverse engineer here. With the help of reverse engineering, you are going to get this kind of ER diagram. So this is called as here entity relationship diagram. Okay, entity relationship diagram. Suppose you work on a project, all of a sudden your manager may be asking, generate and give me entity relationship diagram. Okay, you have to generate and give quickly using this database, then followed by here reverse engineer. With that you can do it. Okay, in the MySQL you generate like this. But if you go with other databases like SQL Server, so in that case, in a different way, you are going to generate it. In the case of PostgreSQL, it is going to be different mechanism. With the help of that, you can do it. So, but in this case, what is happening? Here in the MySQL, using Workbench, you can create here the entity relationship diagram. Here, TBL category is the first entity. TBL product is the second entity. You are linking one table with the another table in this case. So this table is also called as entity, and this is also entity. The type of relation you have in this case is one-to-many. This is nothing but here one-to-many. So what is the meaning of that here? Under one category, you can have multiple products. Similarly here, the TBL category is linking itself. So that is also going to be one-to-many. That means what? Under one super category, you can have multiple subcategories. For example, you take electronic items we have taken. Electronics or electronic items, something we have taken. So under that, you can have TVs, you can have laptops, you can have desktop computers. Okay, you can have mobile phones, you can have iPads, you can have many things. So under one category, you can be having multiple subcategories. So this is called as here one-to-many relationship. So the table can be linking with itself, or a table can link with the another table. So TBL product is, you can call it as a child table, and TBL category can be called as a main table. So this you can think as a main table. So in the main table, category ID is what? Primary key. And in this case, the TBL product category ID is going to be here foreign key. So using primary key, foreign key relationship, what we are doing, we are maintaining the integrity of the data. We are maintaining the integrity of data here. Referential integrity we maintain here. Okay, so how we maintain it? Suppose you are trying to create a product. When you try to associate that product with a category, what should happen exactly? You can use for that product a category ID which is existing in our table. If you try to add another category which is not part of our TBL category, then that is wrong. Okay, in such case, if there is no appropriate category for the product in the TBL category, then in that case, what you can do? You can keep it as null. Okay, for a foreign key, either it can take a null value or it can take a value which is existing in the parent table. Okay, so this rule, it follows. In that way, it's maintaining the referential integrity for us. Okay, that means what? Unnecessary things cannot be added. Fine. So this is basically entity relationship diagram. Earlier, yesterday we created tables, and now we are seeing this here. This can be saved. If you want to save this one, you can save it. So right click, or else you may be having some mechanism here. Somewhere there will be mechanism to save this particular thing here. Okay, somewhere you may have a save option for this, or else go with the Control S. So when you go with the Control S, so this is here model. It is called as .mwb. This is exactly what .mwb. You can put this ER diagram. Okay, you can call this as ER diagram. So this you can open again from the same MySQL workbench. You have created now here this one. So later on you can open it and once again see this particular thing. You have generated already this one, like a diagram. This is getting saved for us. Later on you can open it. You can see once again this particular thing. But where you can open? Only within the MySQL workbench, because it has certain proprietary property. With that, it is getting saved. It is not like an image. We are saying it as a ER diagram, but this is not basically a PNG or GIF or JPG file. So these are all image formats. When you say JPG, it's an image format. PNG is nothing but an image format. BMP is called as bitmap file. It's an image format. You have a GIF, graphics interchange file format you have. So that is basically, you can even have animation in that. So GIF is actually one such another format. Like that, there are various formats for the images. But this is not an image actually. It is looking like an image for us. Okay. It can be opened only within the MySQL workbench. You cannot open using any Paint, or you cannot open using any image editor. It's not possible unless if you save this as a PNG or JPG, you can do that. But otherwise, if it is the file extension, whatever we have right now, so that you cannot open in the any of the image editors. Paint is image editor. Windows Photo, something like that you have, that is an image editor. Photoshop you have, that is also called as image editor. They are all image editors. You can load image, you can actually crop the image, you can actually extend image, or you can resize image, you can rotate the image. Many things you can do with the image editors. Okay, so I mean mostly designers, they work with such things. So this is what here, it's the entity relationship diagram in which you have two tables. One is TBL category, other one is TBL product. Graphically, this is shown to us. When somebody is going through this, easily they can understand. Okay, so I mean a picture actually represents more when compared with the text. A person can easily understand when they look at the picture. In the same manner, we have drawn here ER diagram, and in this we are mapping. We have shown actually how the TBL category is mapped with the TBL product. Okay, now let us come to, so I close this now here. Okay, I close it that. Then I'll be opening once again here, not my DB. What happened in this case? So this is fine here. I close this. Again, I'm coming into this particular thing, schema. Now I have to open the store DB. Right now, it is opened or not, it is not open. I'll be opening this here. Now stores DB is available here. To open a database, what command we can use? You can use a use command. With the help of that, we can open. Okay. So now how many tables are available in this? How we can see in the GUI, when you expand tables, automatically you can see. But from the command, line from SQL, MySQL command line client. In such case, you need to give show tables command. With the help of that, you can see it. Okay. So we have seen yesterday DDL commands. What are the DDL commands? We use it. One is what? Create. Create command is a DDL command. Okay, create is a DDL command. Create table. We have used it, followed by some table name is required. Table name, then followed by here, we write in the parenthesis the column names along with the type of data. You have column 1 followed by data type. Okay, similarly, you have column 2 data type, column 3 data type. In that manner, we have. So we had even some kind of restrictions on the data that is called as constraint. What are the types of constraints we have in the MySQL? See here. First one is what? Primary key. So second thing is foreign key. We have a foreign key. Similarly, we have a check constraint. Sorry, this is another constraint is going to be a check constraint. We have a constraint called check constraint. Okay. Similarly, we have here unique constraint. We have a unique constraint. Then similarly, a default constraint we have. A default constraint. One more is what here? Null and not null. Okay, null and not null. You can have these constraints. Okay, primary key constraint, foreign key constraint, check constraint, unique constraint, default constraint, and one more thing is what? Null and not null. So these constraints we apply with the columns. You can apply with the columns these constraints. Okay, we have in last session we have talked about actually those primary key as well as foreign key constraints. Okay, we had a primary key constraint and foreign key constraint. Today we are going to look into some other types of constraints like check constraint, unique constraint, default, null and not null. Okay, so in this, the primary key, foreign key, unique, default, these can be called as here in IO constraints. You can call them as IO constraints, but check constraint is called as here domain constraint. So this is a domain constraint. With the help of that, you are going to make the database table accepting only those domain values. Domain means it is not data type. For example, you take the data type of the column is integer. Okay, but in that you want to enter only those range of values. For example, take an employee age. So in the case of the employee age, you have to enter the age between 21 to how much? 60. Below 21, it should not accept. Above 60 also, it should not accept. So in that way, what you do, you are going to, force the database to accept only values. They are between the 21 to 60. 21 is inclusive, but 60 is what? Not inclusive. It is, it should be excluded. So less than 60, but greater than or equal to 21, you should take. So in that manner, you can have that. Okay. So unique constraint is going to be, it can be null or it can be, it can be null value, or if you enter a value which should not be available already in any other row in the given table. Under that column, in no other row, that value should be available when you enter. But you can have a null value. If you have null value, no problem. Null meaning is what? Missing. Okay, two different rows under that column can have null values. Null meaning is what? Missing value. When we say null, so null is nothing but actually missing value. Database null is different. And when you work with JavaScript or in the Python, okay, or in the C or in the C++, you have a null value that is different. Okay, in this case, it is null is different. This is called as DB null, database null. Okay, so it can take a null value under that column, or it can have a value which must be unique. That means in no other rows actually under that column, the same value must be present. So that way it is called as basically a unique value. So default value meaning is what here? Whenever you enter data into a particular table row, when you miss the value, if you don't want to enter, if you want to take some value, in such case, you can go with the default. Something like insert a date, insert a time, automatically you can take timestamp, with that you can enter. Similarly, null meaning is what? It can accept null values. When you say not null, it is not going to accept null value. You have to enter some value. By default, it is going to be null. So if it is not primary key, in such case, what happens? It can accept null values. By default, it's null only. The constraint is null. But when you make it not null, you have to enter that data. Otherwise, the row will not be accepted. So these constraints we are going to impose on the columns. Depending on the requirement, you have to use them. Okay, so now let us create one more table and we try to see all these constraints in that. These are all going to be interview questions. When you face interview at that time, they ask these things. These are bare minimum you need to know. As a full stack developer, you have to know these bare minimum. So, I mean, once the session is completed, further you can Google, you can find further information you can find. If we miss some in our discussion, if we miss that, further you can extract information from the internet about them. But try to see 2-3 times you review this, then you will have a solid understanding of that. I try to give examples, but still they may not be sometimes enough for you to understand. So in such case, you can Google and you can find information. Okay, so now I want to create one more table. On the table, what I'm trying to do, I can perform the, creation of table, order of table, dropping of table also, I want to do on that particular table. Only with the DDL, we work on that. So insertion, updation, deletion, we are going to continue with the TBL category, and other thing is for TBL product. With that, we are going to work. So I am going to create a table. First of all, I create table, then I alter table. Then other thing is what? I may drop table, or I may drop columns, or I may alter columns, or I may alter the constraints. So that way, what I do here, I'm going to create one more table only for understanding purpose. Okay, now let me create here a new table. I just delete this here, then I go with the, I want to create here in the same thing, another table here. So what command I can use here? In this case, I can go with a create table command. I can use here create table command. Always try to use you try to type command. Don't use GUI. Even you can come to this from here. You can go you can create a table from this. This is not a good practice. When you type like this, you will get complete hold. Okay. So therefore, try to type the command. This way, try to create here. I want to make this as actually some TBL sample. Okay, this is going to be some or TBL employee. I want to put something like this here. TBL employee, this is. So this is not going to have any relationship with any other table. So in this case, what is required for me? First of all, employee ID is required. So I want to name this as here employee ID. This is INT. Next thing is what here? It is a primary key here. Primary key I don't declare here. At the table level I declare. When you declare primary key here, this is called as a primary key you are declaring at the column level. When you declare primary key at the column level, you cannot give a name for the constraint there. So just you need to write primary key, that much. Okay. And one more thing, whenever you create a primary key, more than one column also can be part of the primary key. It can be more than one column. So in such cases, you cannot declare it at the column level. You need to go to the table level. At the table level, you can do it. So what is table level? In this example, you understand. But when you write immediately here primary key, what it means, it is actually at the column level. Okay, so I don't want to do at column level, I want to do at the table level. Now this is employee ID, which is integer type of data. Okay, it's going to be integer type of data. Then followed by, I type this as here, primary key. One more thing is here, auto increment. This is going to be here, auto increment. You know what is auto increment? Okay, by default, it's going to be starting with the 1, and every time you add more rows, they will be getting incremented. Okay, but I don't want to add from the 1, but I want to add from 1000. Okay, so some employee IDs some employee IDs are coming 1 digit, some are containing 2 digits, some are containing 3 digits. It doesn't look nice. So therefore, I want to start from the 1000, but there is no provision straight away here. So for that purpose, you need to alter the table. So first you need to add like this auto increment, then followed by here. Next thing is what you can go with the first name. So here we go with the first name, then followed by we go here with the varchar. Then how much I specify here? Some 100 I can put. It can take up to 100 characters. But here, first name is compulsory. I put this as here, not null. I can impose such constraint in this case. Not null, I can put here. Can I go for the first name, a unique constraint? I cannot go because more than one employee can have the same name. Okay, so there can be more than one employee with the same name. So if I try to put unique constraint, then what will happen? One employee name I can add only once. More than once, it's not possible. Therefore, I'm not going to create that as a unique constraint in that case. So this is actually not null. Data is required in that case. If it is null, then it will not accept. The next thing is here, last name. I'll go here in this case, last name. Then this is going to be again varchar, followed by here 100. Even this is also, I mean, everyone may not have last name. So therefore, you can accept null in this case. This can be null. You can accept null in that case. Okay. So one more thing, what I require in this case is DOB, date of birth. I can call this as here, date as well as time. Okay. Date of birth is date, time. One more thing I put here, DOJ. DOJ bearing is what here? Date of joining. Okay, date of joining. So you need to have here date of joining. I want to give some assignment to you in this case. I mean, before creating table only, I'll tell here. You have a date of birth. Second thing is what here? DOJ. Okay, an employee should have minimum of 21 years to join in a company. Try to understand that. So an employee should have a minimum of 21 years to join in a company. Okay, depending on the DOB, you need to restrict DOJ. For example, we enter DOB as, okay, we enter DOB something like this here. So it may be like, I can go with the 10. This is exactly what 2000. Or you have something like 2010. Okay, this is the date of birth. Then in that case, it should not accept at all any data. Because how much minimum age is required? 21 years is required. And difference between the date of joining and date of birth must be 21 years. Okay, so you have 10-10, 2020, and DOJ must be less than or equal to current date always. Whenever you take DOJ, in that case, what you have to take? It must be less than or equal to current date. So future date you can't enter. Okay, so we have to enter only less than or equal to current date. So in such cases, if it is 10-10-20, if you try to enter today's date, it should not accept the data. Reason why it is 2010 and it is 2023. So how much time difference you have between the two? 13 years. So 13 years person cannot actually be an employee. So therefore, it should actually not accepting that particular thing. So using check constraint, you can make it. You have to add, in that case, check constraint. With the help of that, it will not accept data if the difference between DOB and DOJ is not 21 years. Okay, if the distance between DOB and DOJ, if it's not 21 years, in such case, it should not accept at all. Okay, like that, you need to put the constraint. Understood here my requirement? So we enter some DOB. Okay. So DOB plus 21 years can be minimum, can be DOJ, or it can be more than that. But minimum is how much in this case? At least you have here 21 years gap between the DOB and DOJ. So this is the requirement I have. So what I'm writing therefore here, DOJ, date time this is. And these are also here, these are also, I mean, not null, we need to take in that case. This is also not null, and this is also going to be not null. I put in this manner. So this is also what exactly not null. Okay. So next thing is what? Next thing, I need to go with the department. So I go here with the department. Then in this case, this is going to be varchar some 100 I can take. Okay. So this is also here. I mean, this can be unique in this case now. Why this is unique? No, I mean, under this, okay, you can, this can be, I mean, not null, you need to put, you can go with the null also in this case. More than one employee also can be belonging to same department. So therefore, unique is not required in such cases. Unique is not required. But the next thing is what? You have a contact number. Contact number whenever you have. So in this case, this is going to be again varchar. You put something like 11 up to 12. So since it is number, it should be a integer or it's a floating point. You cannot think like that. Contact number can be varchar only, but it's going to contain only digits in that. Okay. So this is what in this case, this can be unique. This can be unique. No two employees contact number can be same. Okay. No two employees contact number can be same. That's why I made this as unique here. It is going to be unique. That means same phone number, you cannot use with more than one employee. But an employee may not have phone. In such cases, that can be null because unique can accept non-duplicate values and other thing is what? Plus null. So therefore, if the employee is not having a number, then that can be null. But you cannot use same phone number if any other, if for any other employee, if that phone number is entered, same number is not actually, should not be entered for the contact number of another employee. So therefore, you can make this as unique. Similarly, email ID you have. So email ID also varchar followed by, this is going to be some 100. And here in this case, this also unique you can put. Okay, like this, we have these columns. We have these columns. What are the columns available in this case? Employee ID, which is automatically getting incremented. You have first name. The next thing is last name, DOB, DOJ, then department, contact number. Then one more thing is what? Email ID. Like this you have here. Okay, in this manner, you have this. One more thing I want to enter this as here. Like, I want to go with the, in this manner, this is going to be here, like address. Okay, address, this is going to be here, varchar, some 100. Then similarly, I'll go here with the, this is location, followed by this is varchar. This is going to be here 100. Then similarly, I'll take here, spelling is wrong here. Okay. So similarly, here I can take city. This is going to be varchar 100. In the same way, I can take here, other thing is like state or province, whatever you want to take, you can take there. So this is going to be here, again varchar some 100 we put, followed by we have here some pin code. In such case, so this is going to be again varchar. As far as India is concerned, you can take only 6 digits in that case. Okay, then followed by here, we have country. We go with the country. So country, this is going to be again varchar. Then followed by here it is like This can be some 50, but here I can go with a default value. Default, you can write this as here, India. Okay, so like this, what I do, I am creating few columns. I have created few columns: employee ID, first name, last name, DOB, DOJ, department, contact number, then followed by here email ID, then address, okay, location, city, state, pin code, country. For country, I am taking the default value as India. When you don't enter country, automatically India will be taken. The next step is what in this case, you need to declare now a primary key. On what column we are going to create primary key? On the employee ID, you are going to create a primary key. So therefore, here write in this manner. You need to write like this, constraint. Okay, you need to give a name for the constraint. Like how you are giving a name for the column, in the same manner, for the constraint you have to give a name. For table, you are giving name. For column, you are giving name. For a view, you give a name. Okay, the same manner for a constraint also, you have to give a name. Even constraints are database objects. Okay, inside the database, even the constraints, they get saved. So we have written constraint followed by, what is the name for that? We can put this as here, PK followed by EMP ID. Like this, I can put here. So PK meaning is what here? Primary key. Such prefixes, when you use, it is easy to understand. In the case of foreign key, you put FK. In the case of PK, it is going to be primary key. In the case of unique, you can go with the UQ. In the case of default, you go with the D. Like there are certain prefixes you can use. Again, it's a convention followed in the company. When you work for a company, you have certain kind of actually norms. So certain coding conventions you need to follow. According to that, you need to write everything. Because if you follow certain conventions, certain standards, so everyone is going to do in the same manner. So in such case, you don't have any readability problem. When you try to understand others' code, it can become very easy. So, I mean, whenever you join in the organization, mostly they teach you about the organization culture. They are not going to teach you all these subjects. Okay, they are going to cover for you the organization culture, how to work in the organization, what are the standards they follow, what are the norms you follow, what are the rules you have to follow. All they are actually, I mean, they are going to tell you in the form of actually training sessions. Okay, people think that once you complete engineering, so some company will take you, they are only going to train you. So that is absolutely wrong. Okay, so they may train you on subject just to give some initial idea, but they are going to focus more and more on the organization culture. That is going to be important. So here constraint PK EMP ID, then followed by, I write this as primary key. So this is going to be primary key. Then what column that is? I need to put the column name here. It is what exactly? Employee ID. So everything try to use lowercase, but some of them are lowercase, some of them are uppercase. This is not a good practice. So therefore, we try to use this as here, employee ID. And in the case of pin code, this must be again lowercase. Like this, we put here pin code. And here what I do, I can write this as employee ID. Employee followed by this is ID. I can put in that manner. This is what exactly employee ID. So this way, I'm going to create here a primary key. Do we require any other keys in this case? We don't require, but except some check constraint. We require a check constraint. We have to think about that and we need to write. So let us try to finish like this. First of all, the table definition. Okay, now what is happening in this case? I'm going to create the required table. If everything is correct, what will happen? This can be created. Otherwise, it shows errors. Okay, multiple primary key defined. So you should not have primary key in such case in this area. So when you put primary key there, that is called as declaring a primary key at the column level. At the end of the table definition is getting ended here. Then after that, if you declare primary key, this is what exactly declaring a primary key at the table level. So up to this, you are defining columns. So once column definition is ended, then you are coming to this line here and you are defining a primary key here. So this is called as declaring a primary key at the table level. Along with the column, if you put primary key, that is called as what? Column level primary key declaration. But this is what now? It is at the table level. I am declaring now at the table level. So let me select it and execute. Now what happened here? The table has been created. So table is created. Now you can see the structure of the table. Okay, just go with the DSC followed by here TBL employee. Okay, I want to see the structure of this table. That means what are the columns available in that? What are the keys available? You can find in that case. So now we can see here. We are seeing in this case. First thing is what? Employee ID. It is INT. Null, it's not null. It's primary key. And this is what here? Auto increment. Value for this will be getting automatically entered. Automatically, it's going to be getting entered. Then similarly, we have a first name. Even this is not going to accept null value. When you go with the last name, it can accept null value. Yes, it is. When you go with the DOB, you have to enter DOB. Similarly, DOJ also must be entered. Whenever you induct any employee, these two are mandatory. Date of birth as well as date of joining. These are going to be very, very important. Similarly, you have a department. So department can accept null value. Because when you induct an employee, immediately you may not be allocating any department. While they are under training, you are going to understand the people so they can fit in which department you decide later on. So in such case, what happens? You are going to put into, later on that. That's why what I have written here, department can accept null values. Okay, this can accept actually null values. Similarly, contact number, if you take, I have said this as yes, why contact number is can accept null values. Every employee may not have phone. So in such case, what happens? At least when they joined in the organization, they may not have phone. So in such cases, it can accept null values. Similarly, when you go with the email ID, so email ID also can be here a null value because everyone may not have email ID. And one more thing is what? These are all unique keys. So the constraint what we are applying in this case is what here? A unique constraint we are applying in this case. It's basically unique constraint. Then when it comes to address, address can accept null value. Similar location can accept null value. City can be null. State can be null. Pin code can be null. Okay, but country is going to be using here some default value that is called as India. When you don't enter any value for that, what will happen? In such case, automatically it takes India. Like this, we have created the columns. So this is going to describe the TBL employee. Apart from this, there can be more things related to employee. For example, you take certifications. Okay, so if you have some table called certifications, those certifications you cannot put here. When you take an employee, employee may have multiple certifications. Okay, employee can have multiple certifications. As per 1NF, a table, a column cannot have multiple values. That is called as multi-valued attribute. Okay, so if you take one certificate, you should have enter only one certificate. You cannot put there multiple certificates. Like for example, JCP, Sun Certified Java Professional, you cannot have. Oracle OCP, Oracle Certified Professional, you cannot have in the same column. You cannot put it as actually Microsoft, something like MS, Microsoft Certified Solution Provider. So something like that, you cannot have multiple values. So when you have like that, that is called as multi-valid attribute. So in such case, it will not be in the first normal form. So in such case, what you need to do, you need to put into different columns or you need to put into different rows. So that is called as multi-value attribute, we call it as per the first normal form. Sanjana, is it correct? Multi-valid attribute, have you read anything like that?
No, sir.
Have you studied DBMS?
Yeah, yes, sir.
But in that, it should come. Have you gone through the normal forms, first normal form, second, third?
Yeah, yes, sir, but I did not remember, sir.
But you need to remember. For example, I ask you, have you forgot ABCDs? Okay, you haven't forgot. Okay, so here also, whatever you study in the engineering, you should remember all these. Okay, they are required. Later on in the your career, they are going to be very, very important. They are required, not just to get through the exam. We should not study in that manner. You need to remember them. Later on, they can be used very much. Okay, since you are youngsters, little freedom I am taking, and I am advising you, don't mind. Okay, when I ask
Okay,
like
sir.
that, please don't mind.
No.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
So you have to remember all these things. Okay, if you don't
Okay,
remember, sometimes you may lose opportunities. Again, you have to revive. Then in that case, what they think, they don't know much about it. They suppose they are asking something about the normal forms. If you cannot answer properly, so in that case, what they say, they don't know anything about database. They think, but already you studied that. Just if you revive, then in that case, it will be good for you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now in this case, what is happening here? For example, you have now related to certifications. In such case, you need to create here another table called TBL EMP certifications. Then in that you can put the, a description, then followed by authority which is issuing certificate, and in which year you have taken certificate. So if you put like that, that is going to be better. So in that way, what you do, you are going to be normalizing it. Okay, you are going to normalize data. You are going to split data into more than one table. Similarly, an employee, you have an experienced employee. Okay, what are the previous experiences? The employee might have worked with number of companies. So all that company's information you need to maintain in a different table. So that is called as employee summary. You can this is experience summary. TBL experience summary you can have. So in that, for every employee, how many? The employee might have worked with number of companies. So with X company, some 2 years, with Y company, 3 years, with Z company, some 4 years. So in such case, you need to enter all those data also separately in a separate table. So like that, you need to organize the data. But what we have done in this case, we have done here TBL employee. Understood? All of you understood this? Shravani, followed this here?
Yes, Sridhar.
Okay. So then next thing is here. Now, as I was saying, actually, we have taken auto increment. What I was saying, auto increment must be starting with 1000. But by default, what value it takes in this case? It's going to take in this case. It's going to take in this case here value 1. You need to change this to 1000. So for that purpose, you need to alter the table. So here write alter table. We go here like this, alter table. What is the name of the table here? TBL employee. We put like this. Okay, TBL employee. Then write here auto increment. Auto increment equal to, you put some 1000 here. What happens in such cases? Now let us try to see. So alter table, with the help of that, what we do? We modify the structure of the table here. We are going to modify the structure of the table. So here auto increment value, default value, how much we are setting? We are setting it to 1000 in this case. If syntax is correct in such cases, so this works, otherwise it may give error. So what happened in this case? Let us see in the bottom, you can see the result. So what happened here? It is set to 1000 now. So what I have done, I have changed it to 1000. So when you add first employee, what is the employee ID? It is going to be 1000 in that case. Subsequently, when you enter more employees, it's going to be 1001, 1002, 1003. Like that, it's going to be getting entered. Okay. So here now what we modified? We modified the auto increment value. How much we set it? We set it to 1000 here. Auto increment value is how much here? 1000. So if you don't modify this, it's going to be starting with 1, 2, 3 in that manner. As you add more and more rows, it's going to take those values. But here what we have done, we are actually we have modified this to 1000. So beginning value is what exactly? In that case, it's going to be 1000. So this is called as here altering table. Okay. So this is called as in this case altering the table. We have altered the table. Now one more thing also we have in this case. What I was saying actually about the constraint. So what constraint basically? The DOB and DOJ, based on that, if the distance between DOJ and DOB, if it is 21 years, minimum 21 years, in such case what? The data should be accepted, otherwise the row should not be added. Okay. So why I have taken minimum age for joining in a company is 21 years for a person. Okay, therefore, in that case, the date of birth and date of joining must be, the difference between them must be 21 years. Okay, it must be 21 years. So therefore, how to do for that? Try to give your ideas in that. What kind of logic we can apply in such cases?
Sir, can we use check constraint?
Check constraint we use, but how
Yes.
you use in the check constraint? We enter some DOB, we enter some DOJ. In such case, how do you get whether that is 21 years or not?
Can we use date difference function?
Yes, you have date difference function. With the help of that, you can do it. But with date difference, it can be hours, it can be minutes, it can be seconds, it can be days, it can be months, it can be years. Then what field you use? Do you use year in that case? So further see about the date difference, how it can be done. You have a function in the date functions in the MySQL. So with the help of that, you can do it. Just think about it for a few minutes, then try to solve it. Okay, so in such case, here I can come to this particular thing and expand the functions in this case here. There are no predefined functions available here. Sorry, there are predefined functions, but we haven't defined any function in such cases. Now you can go to help. In the help, here I click on the help here. So what I do here, I can search for actually date functions, date time functions. So I start searching in such cases here. Okay, so here you have date and time functions in this case. We have in this case date as well as time functions. So when you go with this, you can find here so many functions in this case. We have a date add function, date diff function. It can be subtracting two dates. You have in this case date diff, but further how we do see in this case. So it is going to take in this case, exactly this is what here, 31, 2007, 1231, and this is taking here 2007, 1230. So this is going to be giving you days in that case. It is going to be giving dates, but you require in this case, how much? You require actually in such case, here years are required, not the days. Then how we get in such cases? You have a function called here date diff. With the help of that, you can be finding. Okay, it's going to give for us in this case days only. Okay, it's going to give here days. Is there any way with the help of that you can be? Okay, is there any way with the help of that you can be getting in this case the required? The required result you can get. Either you can use here date add function as well. So let us try to explore here date add function in such cases now. So here I'll go with this and try to see. This is a function. It can be part of the SQL expression. So I can go here with the select. Then here I give this as date add. We have a function here date add. Now using this, first of all, I should give a date. So what date I give here? So this is going to be in this manner. I give some date. I can give in this fashion. So first thing is what here? Something like 1994. I put here. Then followed by I put 08. Then followed by I put some 12 like this. Okay. The next parameter is what in such cases? We need to use sometimes help. These are called as basically manuals. So these can be called as here manuals. With the help of that, you can do that particular thing. So interval, how much I take in this case? I'm going to use the interval as here, some 21. Then followed by here, I want to put something like here year. So what will happen now? See, when I go with this, what result it's going to give us? Let us try to see here. Okay, so let us try to see this. There can be error with this. So what it says in this case, select I have taken date add. So 21 is not accepted in this case here. So it's not accepting 21. Why it is, we see here. Okay, if I go with the interval I am taking in this case, date followed by interval expression unit, when it is written like this, we have to see some result in this case. Okay, interval followed by here, you need to specify something like that. So interval, I give here this as, so how the syntax in this case, let us see here. It is exactly what interval we need to use, followed by, you need to put here, you need to put exactly how much interval, followed by you need to use the unit like year. So now let us go to this point here, then try to enter this as, okay, we go here, then in this case, interval you put here, then go with the 21, followed by, you write this as here, year. So now what should happen in such cases? So this should be adding 21 to the 1994, 08, 12. Then you have to get in such cases what year? See now. So it is giving us what it's giving basically in this case. It's giving us 2015, 08 and 12. Like this, you are getting in this case a new date. Okay, so when you go with this is the current year, current you have given in this case, current date you have given in this case, or whatever date it is. To that, we are going to add here 21 years, then this is going to be year. Now, based on that, you should basically, you have to, make it working. Based on that, you need to be making it to work. Okay, so using this concept, you have to do. Now, what happened here? You have taken the DOB, to the DOB you add 21 years. Then you are going to be getting a result. So that value, whatever you get, must be greater than or equal to, DOJ. So it must be greater than or equal to DOJ. In such case, you have to accept it. Otherwise, you cannot accept. So using check constraint in that way, you are going to make it. Understood logic here. So what is happening in this case? You are going to enter the date here. This is DOB. To the DOB, you are going to add 21 years. Then in that case, you get a new date. So that date must be greater than or equal to date of joining. So in such case, you need to accept. Otherwise, you need to reject that. So that way you can be adding. In this case, you can add in that case the check constraint. Here you go with the select command, followed by, you see here now with this what happens, see. So this should print for us current date and time. It's giving in this case 2023 11/03. It is giving for me in this manner. So now let me add the constraint for that. I'm going to add the constraint using, what was the function I have used in this case? Date add function. With the help of that, we could do that. So now once again alter the table. Here write alter table. Then what I put in such cases, I can go with the TBL employee here. So it's going to be TBL employee. Then inside this, okay, alter table TBL employee. You need to now add the constraint. Add constraint. Okay, add constraint. S is required. Add constraint. Then followed by here CHK. Then this is DOB, some DOJ. We put like this. Then followed by here check constraint we use. What we have to do now in such cases? So what exactly now we have to do in such cases? So it must be whatever DOJ is entered, DOJ must be greater than or equal to what I do here now, date add. It's a function I'm going to use, date add. Then in this case, it is going to be DOB. Then here, what I write here, interval 21. The next thing is what here, year. Like this, I can add the constraint. So this way, I'm going to be adding the constraint. Now let us try to execute this here. So this way, I'm going to be adding a check constraint. Okay, I want to add check constraint here. So successfully, the constraint is added. Now, once again, try to describe the TBL employee. What do you get? See in such case now. So when you come here, in somewhere, Okay, the check constraint cannot be seen here. Straight away, we don't apply for the column. So that's why we call it, we call it as a domain constraint. When you insert data at the time, it will be available for us. Okay, whenever you insert data at the time, it is going to be available. So it can accept data if the the time difference between date of birth and date of joining is greater than or equal to 21 years. Otherwise, it will not take it. So this is called as here a check constraint. We call this as actually check constraint. The difference between DOB and DOJ must be 21 years. In such case only it can enter. Otherwise, it will not enter data. Okay, now try to add some data into the table now. Okay, we altered this. Alter table with the help of that command. What you can do, you can modify here the auto increment value. At the same time, I added a constraint. You can add a new column as well. You can add constraints also. So here what I do, one more column, let me add in this case. Alter table followed by here add. Then I want to add a column here. The column name can be here remarks. Okay, then I want to put in this case the type of data is going to be, here it is medium text. One of the types of data is what here, medium text. So like this, I'm trying to add here a new column called remarks to the table. Some extra column is coming. Medium text is going to be using up to 65 KB data. So in this manner, I'm going to add this particular new column here. Alter column, alter table, I should give the table name. Without table name, it will not do anything. I have to give the table name. So I put this as here DDL employee, then followed by add. This is going to be adding here column name remarks. This is going to be medium text. Now I want to execute this. So one more column is added for us. Another column also added. That column name is what here, remarks. Regarding employees, we added a remarks column. So that can contain in this case whatever remarks you are putting for the employee. Now let us try to insert data into the given table. Okay, so into the given table, we need to insert data. For that purpose, we go with the command insert into, what is the name of the table here? TBL employee. Okay, we go with the TBL employee table, and what columns you are going to enter in that case. So whatever are mandatory, you can enter them. Whatever are not mandatory, you can just omit them. Okay, which are not mandatory, you can omit them. So let us try to enter data into that now. So we use here insert into TBL employee. Now let us see here what columns are mandatory. Employee ID, it is automatically entered. We need not enter anything. But first name is required here. So last name is not mandatory. So therefore you can skip that one. You go with the first name. Okay, very first column is here. First name we can enter. Then we need to enter here DOB. One more thing is what here, DOJ we can enter. We need to enter in that case. Then similarly, department is not mandatory. Right now you can take that null value. So contact number also, you can omit that. Email ID also you can omit. Address also you can omit that. Location can be omitted. City can be omitted. State can be omitted. Okay, pin code also you can omit. Then country automatically is going to take default value. So we enter only these values in such cases now. Just first name, DOB and DOJ. Okay, we are going to enter first name, DOB and DOJ. For that now we take values. We are going to take values. Then here we try to enter some name. Okay, so I want to enter something like here, Roop. So the name is going to be Roop in this case. Then here I can enter here DOB. You can enter in the single quotes DOB, date. It is going to be like, first of all, date of birth I have to enter. So here I try to enter like something like it is 1990. Then followed by 01. Followed by this is some 25 I enter. Okay. So next thing is what here? Date of joining I want to enter here. So date of joining I can take this as here. Something like 2015 I want to take here. 2015. Okay, 2015 I want to take. Then this is going to be like 01, then 01. I want to take in this manner. So just I want to insert the data. If everything is fine, the data must be getting inserted for us. So the difference between the two dates, is it minimum 21 years? If you take 1990 and 2015, how much difference, time difference between the two dates you have? It is minimum. I mean, it's 25 years. That means it's meeting the requirement. Okay, so therefore, try to insert data here. So now we need to insert data into this. So just execute it. What happened here? Data inserted now. So data is getting inserted. Now you can go and here see the data. Select star from what we write here, DDL employee. So in this manner, we are trying to add data to the employee table. Now just execute it. You can find here now data in this. Employee ID, how much it is taken? 1000. Earlier it was 1, but we modified it to 1000. Then first name is what here? Root. Okay, last name is not available, so null it is taking. DOB is getting entered like this. DOJ also getting entered. Department is null, we haven't entered. Contact number is not entered. Email ID is not entered. Address is not entered. Location is not available. City is not available, but country automatically it's taking. Because for that we have taken default value. Okay, since we specify default value, automatically India is taken for that. Okay, so it is inserting data. But suppose you don't enter correct data, what will happen? See. Okay, one more data I want to enter in this case. So I take here this one. Then in this case, I want to put this as here one more column I want to add here now. What is that column? That's going to be here, last name. I put like last name, then followed by here, first I'll go here with the Mahesh. Next thing is here, Chandra. This can be here, last name. Then followed by, I have entered 1990, but here I'm trying to put date of joining as 2000. Okay, in such case, this should not be accepting. So this should not take actually. If the logic, whatever we have written, if it is correct, then in such cases, this should not be basically accepting it. Okay, so it should not accept such thing in such cases. So let us try to insert the data and see. Because the difference between these two must be more than 21 years. So let us try to insert this data, see what will happen. If it is getting inserted, in such case, what our logic is wrong in the check constraint. What happened here? Insert into DDL employee, first name, last name, DOJ, values, error code. Unknown column, last name, DOB. So here there is no comma. Because of that, it's giving error. Now again, we try to execute this. So now try to execute it. Again, this is giving error here. What error message we are getting here? Check constraint chk underscore dob underscore doj is violated. Correct? So this is a violation because it's not meeting the requirement in this case. Minimum, how much we are saying? 21 years is required between the doj and dob. But what is happening in such cases here? It is having only 10 years. Correct? Since the difference between the two dates, doj and dob, is 10 years, it is not accepting. So it is giving, that's why error here, data is not inserted. If you try to select data from the table now, you don't find the second row, you have only one row. Only one row you have, second row is unable to insert. Reason, there is a problem with the given data. Because the difference between the two dates is how much here? It is only 10 years. It's not more than 10 years. Since it is only 10 years, it is unable to insert that particular data. It's less than 10 years in fact. Okay, so it is unable to insert data. So this is called as here a check constraint. Okay, so this one is called as here a check constraint. So using insert command, we are inserting data into the table. When you try to add data, when you try to add a row, in such case, what happens? It is not going to accept this data because it's violating here. The difference between the DOJ and DOB must be minimum 21 years for us. Okay, but how much difference you have in this case between 1990 and 2000? Only 9 years difference you have, not even 10 years. It's going to be just here how much? Just only 9 years. 9 years of odd days you have. So therefore, it's not acceptable. That row cannot be added to the database table. So this is called as here a check constraint. It can accept only that particular thing when the difference between the DOJ and DOB is greater than or equal to 21 years. But since it's less than 21 years, it is unable to accept that. So this way I added here a check constraint. Okay, so this is the way I can add the check constraint. Any questions on this?
No questions from me.
So here in this manner, we are trying to add this, and this is, firing the error message. Okay, so once again, I want to see the column definitions. I'll go with this DSC, TBL employee. So in such cases, what are the columns available? In this way, you have these columns. So later on, what happened? You got the information of the employee address you got, or employee, after some time, employee is giving contact number. Then how to now put the data in this? So for that purpose, we need to now go with the update command. Okay, what I do in that case, update. What is the name of the table? TBL employee. Okay, after a few days, probably we are updating the data. So TBL employee, or else existing phone number may be getting changed. So in such case, what we do? We need to update it. So update followed by what column we need to update in this case? It is contact number. The column is here what? Contact number. Okay, update, first of all, TBL employee. Set we need to use here. Column number, contact number equal to whatever new number you have, you need to specify there. But this is not a number, it is a string you need to put in the single quote. Put something like this 9989735385, some number I am putting like this here. So here I write where, followed by, how can I update that based on the primary key? I need to do that. So what I write here in this case, employee ID equal to, in such cases, it is 1000. So using here the employee ID, I can be doing that particular thing. I can be updating based on that particular thing here. So here I am going to be updating now. So go in this manner. Now try to execute this. When we execute, what will happen? Contact number will be now added. So before that, let us see the contact number, what it is in this case. The contact number is in this case what? It's a null. You don't have anything. Okay, but when you execute this, in this case, what will happen? It is going to be getting changed to some number there. So execute this now. That is changed actually. So go to the now the rows and see here. In such case, you find it as 9989735385. So like this, what is happening? It is getting added. Okay, initially we added here, there is one remarks column, but later on what you understood, that's not required. So we have to remove that column. How column can be removed in such cases? You can go with the, again, alter table command. Alter table, followed by here, TBL employee. Okay, you go with the TBL employee. Then here what you do, drop column. What is the name of the column name there? It is remarks. We put it as here, remarks, the column can be getting dropped. I'm giving here alter table command followed by TBL employee, drop column, remarks. With this, what happens? The column must be getting dropped for us. Now at the end, you have remarks. What is happening in such cases? You have null value. Now with this, next time when you go with the select, the column must be missing for us. So just execute this. So whether this column is existing or not, we need to see. Once again, check here. The table name. What is the last column we have here? Remarks we have. But what command I gave in such cases here? Alter table. Alter table. then TBL employee, drop, just I put remarks. I remove the column. I try to put only drop remarks. What happens, see here. Okay, still you have here.
Remark spelling, sir.
Okay, remark spelling is wrong. This is the problem we often have. So MA or KS, then try to once again execute this. Now in such case, what happened? This has been dropped for us. Drop meaning is what completely removing that column from the table structure. So this has been now dropped. Now when you go with the select star from employee, what happens here? You can find here, you don't find the column remarks. Earlier we had remarks column, but now you cannot find that. So in this way, what is done here? We have removed a column using the alter statement. Alter and drop we are using. Drop to remove the object we use, and alter is what table you are going to be modifying, but from that you are removing a column. Similarly, earlier we added a new column, remarks. Okay, even we modified the auto increment. So like this, what you can do, you can perform here different types of DDL as well as DML commands. So update is what here, DML command. Insert is what here, DML command. Okay, update is DML command, insert is also DML command, but alter table, I mean dropping, altering, creating, they are called as DDL commands. We can call them as DDL commands. Similarly, we have seen here various types of constraints like primary key, foreign key, null constraint, not null constraint. And in this very important thing, what we saw today is a check constraint. Okay, so when the days difference between the age, if age is actually less than 21 years, in such case, the row will not be added to the database table. Okay, so like this, you can perform few DDL as well as DML commands. Okay. Now, do you have any